Hello, this is Brennan Wilmington, and welcome back to another Lumen Stock Car Invitational Series race. We are now in season number 5, race number 1, and we are at the track that started it all, the track that had the first LSCI race, and for 4 of the 5 seasons has been the season opening track, the Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. I am joined alongside Darian Arnsdorf as per usual here at Atlanta. And glad to have you back, Darian, for another season of exciting LSCI racing. And we've got a lot of changes to discuss. I mean, we've got a lot of new faces in new places, but the thing that is probably going to grab the most headlines is the new point system. We are going to be using a chase like system, kind of following in NASCAR's footsteps here. Uh, After race number 20 of the season, we will take the top 10 drivers in points plus the next 2 highest winners, put them in a race for the championship over the final 10 races, and whoever has the most points through those 10 races will be the champion. That being said, how does that change how drivers will race in this event, race number 1 of the year?
I don't think it will change how they race in the first race of the season because you always want to hit the ground running to start these seasons, especially. And with a 20 race regular season, it's a bit shorter than it is in NASCAR. So you're not going to have as much time to make up points if you make a mistake. So you really need to get every point you can get, especially in these first 5 to 10 races. Maybe then, if you're at the top of the standings, you can relax a little bit. But even then, it's going to be difficult to have any time to relax in a season that is relatively shorter than NASCAR, especially when it comes to the regular season. And the chase format, again, makes it to where it's a sprint to the finish. Every point counts, especially there. So, yeah, it's. I don't think we'll see much difference to start the season. Maybe in the midway point it will calm down a bit, but near the end it will definitely heat up again.
Yeah, absolutely. And this will definitely make the championship race a lot more interesting. The last couple years, the champion has locked up the championship before the season was over. So it's going to be a lot harder to do that with the chase, although not impossible, as we saw in the Crackden Classic, which was 10 races long. Somebody ended up locking up the championship then as well. Uh, But again, a lot of new faces in new places as well here, and we will go over those over the starting grid. But in terms of the race itself, it's 65 laps as usual. It's going to be a one-stop race. What's the key to winning this race here at Atlanta?
The key is just don't get junked, pretty much. I know we haven't had cautions here in the past, but if a caution does happen, especially at a race like Atlanta, it could take out a lot of cars, especially if you're in the middle of the pack. So the key is going to be, if you're going to be near a wreck, just pray you're not in it, pretty much. And especially, you've got to make sure that you're up front, especially near when the fuel window's running out, because you have to be up front, especially for that final stint. If I remember rightly, last year, I don't exactly remember who won the race, but I think it was a driver who was in third place after the pit cycle, and they were able to come through and have a rapid closure on the top 2 to win the race. So, yeah, it's going to be mainly don't get junked if you're in the middle of the pack, and if you're near the front of the pack, around lap 45 or so, make sure you're out front when the pit cycle comes to a close.
Last year's race came down to a last lap pass. It was Zach Dearman over JB Chanot then, and they had gapped the field up to a considerable amount. I don't know if we're going to see that again this year, but we do still have the Speedway package on it. So honestly, I think the closest comparison to the schedule to any of the other tracks in the schedule is the season finale at Las Vegas, a mile and a half track that's kind of packed up in general. So maybe if you're running well at Atlanta, that's a good sign. If we get all the way to Vegas and you're in the championship fight, so again, that's something to watch out for. But we have a starting grid to go over here, and row number 1 is dominated by Blake Everett Motorsports of all teams, as they have swept the front row. Shauna Everett in the number 57, alongside Ashley Blake in the 36, with a new sponsor on that car, Ulta Beauty, which will be on for a few more races later this year. but very impressive qualifying performance by this pair of teammates. This team's still looking for their first points-paying win. Maybe they get it here at Atlanta. Row number 2, Ellie Adams, who had a top 5 last year, or not a top 5, a top 10, almost a top 5. I think she finished 7th in this race last year, which was a very impressive performance, but she really didn't do anything for the rest of the year. That might have been the only race she made all year, if I remember correctly, but Ellie Adams, clearly very good at this track. She's won here before in the amateur series, so it'll be interesting to see what she does here today in the JBL car. Alongside her in row number 2 is the number 32 car. That is Kate Summers in the 32 with brand new sponsorship from iFixit. A couple weeks ago in the Calder Park Clash, there weren't that many new drivers and sponsors in the field, but we're going to be seeing a lot more of them here. Obviously, having a full field. Row number 3 is the 16 car of Corbin Taps, always a threat at these kinds of racetracks. Tamarin Bellinger, who had a really good run in the Clash. I believe they finished 3rd in that race. Backing it up again with a 6th place starting spot. This 65 is looking very fast to start the year. Holly Martin's back at NH Motorsports, this time in the number 27 car, hoping to give that team a bit of a boost. And Martin Swain race team running the whole season this year with one driver. That's Kobe Hollenbeck coming over from Columbia Motorsports. New sponsor on that car as well. Hollenbeck puts this car in the top 10, and this team has shown speed before, so I would not doubt that they could get a win here. Then we got a couple other of the same drivers from last year. Jack Gino coming back to the 81, Charlie McCarron back in the 85. This is race number 97 in the LCI. And of course, you got to mention, Charlie McCarron has yet to get her first win despite having been in all 97 races. New sponsorship on that car as well. Then you got Karina Willis-Callaway and Akia Tajima. New sponsorship on the 99 as well. I think if I call it out every time, then we'd be here forever. But Tajima and Karina Willis-Callaway, pair of Toyotas, starting in row number 6. Row 7 is the 8 of Darren Walker and the 92 of Adrienne Fearson. Drove the 27 car last year, not running the full season this year, but a strong qualifying run in the Galaxy Air Toyota. Then it's the 18 of Zach Dearman, defending winner of this race, which, like we mentioned before, happened on a last lap pass. We also saw a last lap pass in the amateur series race just a few days ago. So this track is prone to those. There's a reason why there's so many classic Atlanta finishes, and we could get another one here today. Lakin Herndon starts alongside him in row number 8. Then you've got Joanna Clark in the 58 and the defending champion Tim Berry driving the number 1 car with the gold spoiler as well. Can't really see it from here, but that's something that all the defending champions get. Then the 79, our first rookie in the field here. Alnita Kim is in the 79 after Kobe Hollenbeck has piloted it for the last 3 years. She was a sensational driver in the amateur series, and she now makes the jump up to Cup. Alongside her is the 3 of George Bryan. That is the 24 of Cooper Spur, and the other astounding driver from the amateur series, at least in terms of sheer results. It is Nathan Buchanan, who ended up winning the Amateur Series Championship last year, has spent 3 years in the Amateur Series, and this is his first full Cup season, and he will be driving for Patriot Racing Incorporated and a new 3rd car for them. Then it's JT Boyd returning to the number 77, and Michael Harvin still in the number 55. Tyler Landry in the 66, new sponsor on that car, although it looks pretty similar to his old one. Walmart moving over after Montana Sherman retired. And the 29 of JB Chanot starting out towards the back here. Then it's the 45 car of James Harvin alongside the 78 of Andrew Kreider. His team car, the number 70, driven by Damon Kirby, did not make the race today, so Kreider is holding the banner for Streamline Racing. Then it's the 50 car of Jacob Lopez and the 10 of Simon Lawrenson. This is the only checkered flag racing car to make the field. Wesley Shelton was in the number 9, and he DNQ'd. A couple of rookies for checkered flag racing. We know that Lawrenson will be running the whole season in the 10. We're not so sure about the 9 car, but Lawrenson has won quite a few amateur series races as well, and he's a Cup winner. He got a win in Season 2 driving the 78 car that's right in front of him. Then you've got Jake Sidney in the 19, last year's Rookie of the Year, alongside the 98 of Kevin DuPont. Then it's the 62 of Vinny Scholes and the 88 of Billy Smith. And rounding out the field is the 40 of Adrian Wheeler and Lori Jackson, making the move to McPickey Motorsports in the 6 to replace Holly Martin. But she is going to have to start in the back in her first race with the team. Again, 65 laps, and it will be a one-stop race. We will be pitting around halfway through. Your 4 DNQs for this race, we kind of touched on a couple of them. Wesley Shelton in the 9, Martin Swain, who was driving the number 20, Damon Kirby in the 70, and the 33 driven by Riley Pearson for Double Eagle Racing.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the field will roll off the backstretch here at Atlanta. Make sure there's no mechanical failures on the grid, and there are none. Darian, who do you think is going to win the race today?
Well, this might be a bit crazy to say considering he's at a new team, but I'm actually looking at the number 2, Kobe Hollenbeck, to get the win here today. Looks very strong starting in 7th place, and we know that 2 car is good. That's who I'm looking at here today at Atlanta.
Hollenbeck has not won since his sophomore season in the number 79. That was at Iowa almost 2 years ago. This team has never won a race, but they've come close. Hollenbeck could definitely get it done for him, but it's the Blake Everett Motorsports teammates, Shauna Everett and Ashley Blake, who will lead them to the green, and we are underway in Lumen Stock Car Invitational, season number 5. Oh, Corbin Taps almost goes around in front of Hollenbeck. He's going to save it. Shauna Everett led the first lap, but almost disaster coming back to the start-finish line. As Hollenbeck and Taps got into each other.
Oh, God. Almost a lap 1 incident here in Atlanta. That would have been something, and that could have taken out most of the field right then and there. But Taps was able to save it, and now going for second on Ellie Adams. Pushed by the 2 of Hollenbeck, those 2 are going to need to be very patient for the next few laps.
Those 2 were battling for the lead for a good chunk of the first run last year in this race, so not surprising to see them up front again, but it's the 57, the 5, and the 36 up top, and we got a car in the wall in the back. That was Buchanan. Holds up some cars behind him, but we stay green. And for the race lead, Ellie Adams in the number 5 car, side by side with Shauna Everett. Blake a bit indecisive on who to help there, but Blake will go to the top with her teammate. Never mind, she might try going through the middle and going for the lead herself. They're going to be 3 wide off of turn number 2 for the race lead. Adams has no momentum on the inside lane, and now the Blake Everett teammates are battling each other for the lead. And 3 wide further back as Adams gets put in the middle. Ashley Blake might have ended up getting the lead out of that. What a move here early in the race.
Unbelievable. What a crossover by the 36 of Ashley Blake. Oh, watch the 2. Really under pressure from the 65 of Bellinger. But Bellinger does not make it 4 wide. I thought they were going to for a moment.
Yeah, they were getting all the way down on the apron almost, but, you can't really run down there. There's no banking, so it didn't end up working out. 3 wide, once again, Hollenbeck, Gino,
Taps for the lead.
and Tajima. And we're 3 wide for the lead again. Corbin Taps on the inside. Ellie Adams going to try and dive down there. Everett is going to get into the wall. Watch out, that's going to hold up to the outside. And the front 5 are going to get away from that. They're running a lot lower on the track than they were last year. They're really hugging, even getting on top of that apron down there on the inside lane. But now it's Taps and Adams, who were both in the amateur series in its first season, with Corbin Taps being the champion that year. Oh, Kate Summers barely avoids the wall, but it's going to be Taps with Ashley Blake in tow, who's going to get the lead out of all of that. There's still a lot of pandemonium going on back there. There's definitely a lot more pack-like racing than there was last year. It spread out a little bit easier last year, but boy, they are really just on top of each other, this entire pack. And we have a bit of a break here, as possibly caused by Buchanan hitting the wall. A lot of the Motor Racing Ventures cars are back here and struggling. And the Chevys were so good last year that it's a bit jarring to see so many of them in the back.
But up at the front, look at that 16 Corbin Taps go ahead of Ashley Blake, Kobe Hollenbeck, Ellie Adams battling it out for third place side by side. Kate Summers, Shauna Everett, 32.57 side by side as well for fifth place. And now 3 wide in the middle. Never mind, Bellinger backs out. But it's the 65 and 20 or 85 and 27 side by side. So I believe that's McCarran and Martin, and then there's the champion Tim Barry.
Yeah, Tim Barry running inside the top 10. And he started off on the right foot. He won the Calder Park Clash. So picking up right where he left off. Still got a ways to go to get to the lead here. And here we go. 3 wide again for the race lead.
What in the world?
Is going to lose momentum there, and Taps will retain the lead for now. But Blake's going to stay up in that middle lane. And we saw in the Amateur Series race, that middle lane was pretty good. Maybe even better than the outside was, and we already saw Blake make a 3 wide pass for the lead through the middle earlier. So there's clearly a lot of grip in that middle lane. But she's going to try and make it work here in 1 and 2 to try and get past the 16 at Corbin Taps. Blake has not won since Season 2 at Rockingham. So that's an almost 3-year winless drought for the driver of the 36 car. She's definitely going to want to end that here today, but Ellie Adams with a heck of a run. She's been very impressive at this particular racetrack, and here she is going for the lead once again in the 5 car. And the top 3 is made up of teams that have not won an LSCI race before.
Unreal. Really good to see everyone come out to play here at Atlanta. Everyone showing up to show out. And Ashley Blake up front ahead of Corbin Taps, 3 wide for third. Summers on the outside with the 5 and the 2, but now Tim Barry on the outside of those 2. Great run by Summers as now Taps for the lead.
Uh-oh. Fearson's going to get into the wall. She now gets sideways. And that is going to significantly impact the 92 car. She's going to lose quite a few positions. Hitting the wall here, it doesn't hurt as bad as it does in other tracks, but it still does hurt for sure. Summers is going to move to second in the 32. That's her teammate at Pacific Racing, trying to open the season with a victory. Taps has been the best car so far, but he has had no shortage of challengers for sure. Blake, Adams, and now Summers have all been able to get alongside him and challenge for that lead. And Summers is flying down there on the inside lane. They're going to be side by side for the race lead down the back straightaway. See if Summers can get it through 3 and 4.
She's got it.
She does. She clears the 16 of Taps, but Taps is still trying to fire back on the outside lane, and here comes everybody else. You can't get away from the pack for too long. They're all going to draft back to you, and that was a great example of that right now.
32 has come alive very quickly in this race, but the 16 ain't going away without a fight.
Yeah, that run out of turn 2, and that's another similarity it has with Las Vegas. Really, if you rip the outside in 1 and 2, you can get a huge run. It's not as powerful as it was in years past, but it's still very, very important to get right. As Taps just proved right here, Ellie Adams is going to try and peek under, but stays in line. Akiya Tajima has made his way up to third. Good run for the 99 car, especially since I don't really see any other Columbia Motorsports cars up here. I see the 79 around mid-pack, but oh my goodness, look at this pack. I would not want to be in here. This does not look like fun to be in.
No, this is... I can't confirm. If you're in mid-pack in a pack race, you are just fighting for your life the entire time, just praying that nothing happens in front of you that you might get involved in, or you don't get squeezed and get spun that way. It's not a fun experience.
4 wide. 18 gets out of it, but that was almost a 4 wide situation. That would have almost certainly been an accident. but they did get out of it. All three of the Hudson Motorsports cars, they were very impressive last year. This 3-car lineup won 8 races and almost took the Constructors' Championship away from McPickey Motorsports. And all 3 of them running around the edge of the top 10. And back up front, the Toyotas are going to try and work together on the inside. Ellie Adams is going to try and get the lead in that number 5 car. Taps washes up a little bit, and Tajima is going to try and get second from him. Summers is going to continue the Toyota train on the inside, and Tajima is going to go for the lead.
And Hollenbach gave a shove to the 16 of Taps as well. But the Kia Tajima with a row on the inside on Ellie Adams. Side by side for the lead as they head down the back straightaway. But the 5 is going to get a great push from the 16 and clear again for the lead.
Yeah, not as many cars on the inside lane. The 99 and the 32, the only 2 Toyota winners from last season. Tajima won twice, Summers won once, and that was it for all of Toyota last year. They really struggled, but they're doing a pretty good job right now. They got 3 cars up here inside the top 10, including the 5 of Ellie Adams, who's currently the leader, but his Tap's going to try and make a move on her. It looked like he was going to peak low down the backstretch, but he stays in line for now. Front 5 are all single file, almost front 6 here, as McCarran and Adrian Fearson trying to get stuff going on the outside. Here comes last year's winner, Zach Dearman. Here comes Kobe Hollenbeck to the inside as they got squirrely off of turn 4. Big checkup for the 16 on the outside. That could help the inside, and here comes Hollenbeck in the number 2 car. Alongside the 5, the 8's in the wall at the back. Walker
Look out, Brian.
good, and George Bryan almost went around in turn 2. Let's look here in the back at some of the drivers that are struggling. Tyler Landry and Laurie Jackson and Billy Smith all back here. JB Chanot, who finished 2nd last year in this race. Kevin DuPont, Jacob Lopez, and James Harvin in the back. I mean, there's a lot of drivers we're not really used to seeing in the back here. They're just struggling, and I mean, the 8 car getting into the wall definitely did not help. And there's a big gap in the pack now as a result of that. Interesting that we got some single file going on up front. Not anymore. Not out of turn 4 there won't be. Here comes Taps to the inside. McCarran in tow. And all the Toyotas lined up on the outside. That's 2 Pacific cars and the Action Racing number 5. Side by side down the back stretch.
Kind of surprised Fearson's made it her way back up here already in that 92 car after catching the wall. Great run for that 92, now sitting in 4th place right behind teammate Kate Summers.
Yeah, and Fearson's never won before, not just in LCI, but in her entire career, and that's a very lengthy career to go without a win. Looks like she does have some right side damage, so I bet you she'll probably end up falling back if they end up repairing that under the green flag. But I mean, with the way they're racing, we might see a caution, especially if the 27's getting into the wall like that. Holly Martin in a return to NH Motorsports, running up inside the top 15 until that happened, and there goes everybody by the 27 car. A lot more cars hitting the wall this time around than we saw last year. That's an interesting note there. It looks like they're having a little bit more trouble with the handling of the cars.
They're also running a lot lower than you would think. So this is just a very interesting way the race is going about. Here comes Summers peaking for the lead on Ellie Adams. They're going to be side by side for the lead heading into turn 1. Corbin Taps on the inside of Adriana Fearson. And then you got 3 wide in the back as well. But up front, Adams and Summers side by side for the lead, but Adams going to retain the lead once again.
Here comes Fearson on the outside trying to take 2nd. Got help from the 18 and the 36. And Corbin Taps is going to try and make it 3 wide for P2 in that 16 car. He stayed up here all day. I'm very impressed with Ellie Adams. I mean, this team, I haven't seen a 5 car this fast in a long time. They were not very quick last year, although they did get a couple good runs. And like I mentioned before, Adams got a top 10 for them at the start of the year, but they really lacked a lot of speed that they had in prior years last season. But it's just great to see that car up here. Adrienne Fearson has broken out of the pack, and she's now up to P2 in the 92 car, and she might end up going for the lead here in the 92 car.
Great run from Pearson. Oh my goodness. Look at her go.
It's almost like she got faster after she hit the wall, but here comes Taps with the run on the inside. Just utilizing the draft to catch back up. Adams will maintain the lead. This will be a huge upset if Adams manages to win this, but we've still got a pit cycle to get through, and that could definitely shake things up, and I think that is going to be most of what ends up deciding who is in the race for the win at the end. Summers has retaken second and is going to try and retake the lead here in 1 and 2. And we will be pitting, I want to say, in about 6 or so laps. Just got to keep an eye out on that. Pit lane is a bit tricky to get into, especially since this is the version where you actually do come into the pits off of turn 4 instead of how NASCAR does it, where it's on the back straightaway. Almost a 4-wide situation there, but Dearman backed out of it really early. Uh-oh, Tim Berry's into the wall.
Oh no. That's not good.
And he's going to lose some spots on the outside lane. A rare mistake from Tim Berry. JT Boyd has found himself inside the top 10. Where did he come from? Again,
I was about to say that.
A lot of Toyotas up here showing out. There's 5 of them inside the top 8 now. So
we have a new leader, by the way. Kate Summers.
Oh, but
well, we had a new leader.
Look at well, we missed Summers get the lead, and now she's lost it again, but she's going to get a run out of turn number 2. Corbin Taps can try and help her, and she gets the lead right back. Things change fast here at Atlanta. And looks like Taps is going to take over second as well. But like I was saying, the Toyotas struggled a lot last year, so it's good to see a lot of them up here inside the top 10. 4 of them in the top 5. Corbin Taps, the only Chevy up there. But he has been very strong here today, as he usually is on these kinds of racetracks.
Incredibly strong day from Toyota, like you mentioned. Also a really poor day for Chevrolet, all things considered. I know Corbin Taps is up here in second place, but there's been a lot of Chevrolets in the back of the field especially. Haven't really seen a lot of Fords up here either. We've seen a couple Hondas, but here we go for the lead again. Here comes Corbin Taps.
Taps using the inside lane. We're only a couple laps away from those pit stops. And he is going to make it past the 32 of Kate Summers. Pearson in 4th, Adams 5th, Blake in... Pearson was 3rd, Adams 4th, Blake 5th. But again, still a lot of teams and drivers that have never won before. I mean, 3rd through 7th, aside from Tajima, is basically all made up of drivers and teams looking for their first wins. Big run on the outside for the 16 and the 32. And I think this is the first lap where we should watch for anybody to duck into the pits, as we are now past halfway here at Atlanta. We've had no shortage of action. Summers is dipping low on the track. Maybe she's going to come in. Yes, she will, with the 5 of Ellie Adams.
Is that it?
And they're the only 2 in the lead group to come in and pit, but there are a couple further back in the field that also decided to come in, namely Karina Willis-Callaway and Darren Walker. But that's going to move Blake to second. We'll see if that undercut is going to help Kate Summers. And here comes the leaders.
Except for Hollenbeck and Boyd.
Oh, big stack up as they try to get into the pits.
Oh, look out, Buchanan! Ah!
What on earth happened there? That was a terrible pit entry. That held up the whole field a ridiculous amount. And that's going to be a lot of cars that are going to be taken out of winning contention because of that. I did not catch the driver. I think it might have been McCarran that came across the whole field to come in and pit, but you just cannot do that. That was very ill-advised on the 85's part. Thankfully, no accident. But if we don't get a caution, there's going to be a lot of angry drivers.
Here comes the rest of the field as well. Might be one car staying out.
That's Summers,
no, that's
who
Summers.
Already came in. And it is chaos exiting the pits. Lots of cars side by side coming out. Pearson
I
actually
also
didn't really
want to
lose that much time despite having the damage on the right side, but Summers will cycle out as the leader.
look at the 8 and the 41. They've made up a ton of time with that, I believe.
Yeah, because they weren't in that group that got held up the lap after, so that was very smart on their part to avoid getting caught up in that. So Walker and Karina Willis-Callaway are going to gain a lot from that. Oh, they're 3 wide exiting the pits,
Oh,
and they're going
no.
to sort it out. They will sort it out, but yeah, those cars that pitted early really gonna look to benefit here as they were not in that jam up. That's probably the worst jam up I've ever seen from cars trying to pit. I'm surprised nobody flew in there and caused an accident.
Yeah, I was going to say, Buchanan and I believe that was Jackson in the 6. They were flying in there, guns blazing. I was shocked they didn't end up wrecking anyone. For the lead, here comes Taps on Summers.
These have been 2 of the fastest cars all day, and they are still 1-2 now. Kobe Hollenbeck, Jake Sidney is now in 4th. And then it's Boyd, Fearson, Vinny Schulz. How about Pacific
What in
Racing?
the...
3 cars in the top 7. Schulz started outside the top 30. And here's where Ellie Adams cycled out too, and she's going to try and get past Vinny Schulz. But Pacific Racing, who struggled for the vast majority of last season, really showing out here in the season opener.
That 5 is fast. Just got past both the Pacific cars in one corner.
And we saw last year, once Zach Dearman really got the car under him, he absolutely flew by everybody. And the same thing happened with JB Chanot. So if you see a car that's passing a lot of drivers in this second run, look out, because they might be a contender for the win. Darren Walker and Karina Willis-Callaway, thanks to their undercut, have ended up in this lead pack of 11 cars. And then you've got the Columbia Motorsports teammates of Alnita Kim. Oh boy, that was a close call there. Cameron Bellinger almost lost it off of turn 2, but we're still good. Simon Lawrenson is up here in the top 15. So he's having
Very
a good
strong
run as well.
Especially for that Checker Flag Racing team. They've been struggling last season and expected to struggle this season, so a really good run for Lawrenson here to start off the 2026 season.
Yeah, especially since one of the 2 checkered flag cars DNQ'd this race. Both the Blake Everett cars are behind him, so maybe we'll get a bit of a rekindling of that rivalry here in this second pack. That's something to watch out for. And look at Columbia Motorsports. 3 cars all basically lined up here. And again, the Toyotas have been bad fast here in this race, but looking back up front, Ellie Adams is inside the top 5. She is absolutely flying in that 5 car. We saw her lead a bunch of laps in the first run, and she is making up a lot of spots here in the second one. I don't know. I'd look out for this 5 car. As crazy as it is to say, she might be the favorite to win here just by looking at how fast she's been.
And look at her already to the inside of Hollenbeck for second. There is... I'm struggling to see a race where this doesn't end up with Ellie Adams winning at this point.
Hollenbeck's able to hold her off while Corbin Taps is in the lead. It is a Chevy 1-2 despite their lack of pace for most of the lineup, but you know, there's still a couple up here, and again, these 2 were contending for the win last year until Zach Dearman and JB Chanel got past them. Jake Sidney is trying to get... I can't believe it. Jake Sidney's trying to get his 5th career win already. And this despite the fact that he's basically only run one season's worth of races. So, you know, Sidney has been very great in that number 19 car. But the top 3 just really pulled away through 3 and 4 as they made that outside work. And here comes Adams for second.
Sidney tried to make a move on the inside, and it just didn't work out. Now he's side by side with Summers for the 4th spot, but Adams and Hollenbeck side by side again. Adams actually struggling now to get past the 2 car especially, and lost a lot of time out of turn 2 as they head through 3 and 4. A lot of ground to make up for the 5 of Adams, and here comes Summers for 4th.
I mean, 20 laps to go. Corbin Taps has been up front most of the day, so has the 2 of Kobe Hollenbeck. These 2 have been 2 of the better cars in this race. And further back, you've got Summers, you've got Sydney, you've got Scholes, all trying to get by Ellie Adams in the 5 car, and all trying to catch up to the top 2. But the top 2 have a bit of a gap right now. Not sure how much longer that's going to last, considering how much of a factor the draft is here. And it does look like this group of 4 is catching up to them. But just kind of running single file right now, maybe attempting to try and get away from the pack like what the 18 and the 29 did last year, but it's proving to be a lot more challenging to do that this year. I mean, it looked like the 5 was possibly going to be the car to do it there for a moment, but she's kind of stalled out these last couple laps, and as I say that, she gets to the back bumper of Kobe Hollenbeck. Will she be able to make a move? It looks like she's going to peek the nose underneath and attempt one going into turn number 1.
Gotta stay in the middle here, though. Which she kind of
Big check up by
did.
Taps, though.
Oh!
Adams might get second here, but they're going to have a run down the back.
They're gonna stay side by side, though. Summers now on the outside.
There's more help up top, though. Summers is trying to get Hollenbeck past the 5 car. Sydney's going to try and look 3 wide. Is there enough room? No, he wasn't close enough to make that move. So now he moves to the outside lane. Adams going to try and roll the bottom here. If you diamond it just right, you can get a massive run on the bottom lane, but the drivers have struggled to hit that line, and Adams is going to fall back as Summers now takes over 3rd, but the top 2 remains unchanged. Taps and Hollenbeck, it's looking like it's going to be pretty hard to pass them here on this second run. But Summers is going to try it.
Hollenbeck hasn't been that quick comparatively, though. He hasn't really had a run on the 16, but it's also because he's been under pressure the entire time from pretty much everyone. Summers can't get a run on the 2 car of Hollenbeck. Hollenbeck just needs to stay patient here. Still 16 to go, as now there's a battle for 3rd with Sydney and Summers.
Not much of a battle here. Sydney's going to fly around the outside of the 32. Here comes Darren Walker, who, remember, hit the outside wall pretty good earlier in the race. In turn number 2, made that undercut and ended up avoiding all the chaos that happened with the pit merge the lap after. And it's really helped out this 8 car as Walker has found himself inside, almost inside the top 5, battling for the 5th spot with Ellie Adams. You know, I know we were pointing out Ellie Adams is possibly a favorite to win the race earlier. It's not looking as much now as the run goes on, but regardless of what happens, this is a great run for this 5 team. This is a great sign for things to come here. And just a great run for the part-time driver. And for the race lead, here comes Jake Sydney. Maybe not for the lead, but maybe for second, as Sydney is caught up to the top 2. But he will not get past either of them, as these 2 have been holding steady over the last 10 laps or so.
Pretty much the only way you're going to take second is if someone goes for a lead, and here comes Kobe Hollenbeck right as I say it! Right as I say it, Kobe Hollenbeck for the lead!
Hollenbeck underneath. Uh-oh, the 32 almost got into the wall, but keeps it out. Hollenbeck with a great run on the inside lane. Can he use the slide job and try and clear the 16? Thurgot Lee's going to be side by side through 3 and 4. Sydney's going to go up top to try and help the 16 car of Taps.
They're still side by side.
Hollenbeck is sticking with it down on the inside all by himself. Taps might clear before they get into turn 1, though. And Jake Sydney's going to try and get himself into second. Darren Walker has caught up to this group as well. Almost gets onto the apron there, the 8 car. He's going to try and get underneath. Hollenbeck there tried to force it underneath. And it worked for a little bit, and that really disrupted everybody from 3rd on back as Sydney and Taps are now gone. And Taps finds himself in the same situation as before, but he's got a new face back there. And here comes Sydney, looking to the inside, trying to get Hudson Motorsports back-to-back wins in this race. Both of these drivers had multiple wins last year. They were both championship contenders at one point or another. Taps will stay ahead, though. He has been very hard to pass here in this second run. But here comes the rest of the pack, gonna try and take another crack at it.
Great run for Sydney.
Absolute Toyota train behind them, but Sydney gets the push from Hollenbeck down the front stretch, and he finally gets the lead away from Corbin Taps. We've got a new leader.
He's got to clear, though. He's got to slide up out of turn 2 here. He doesn't. Taps is going to have a run here.
Gets back alongside. Oh, here come the Pacific cars, all lined up in formation. They're going to try and get a run on the leader. The 32 checks up, but Vinny Schulz is taking the run. She's going to take the 16-3 wide for second.
Oh my goodness. What a
Vinny
move by
Schulz.
Schulz.
Vinny Schulz has never won before in LSCI. She's going to be hungry for a win. Same for the 92 of Adrienne Fearson. They are all jammed up here for the lead, side by side. More help down on the bottom for Sydney. And it looks like he's going to clear Corbin Taps here. Coming off of turn 4, Summer's going to try and move into second. Things are getting heated here at the front of the pack. We've only got 8 laps to go, and any one of these drivers could win it. Some drivers from the second pack have actually caught this lead pack. Simon Lawrenson, Akia Tajima, and JB Chanot have joined the battle. Taps will stay in second and is now on the back bumper of Jake Sidney, and Fearson's going to try and go into third.
Big push from the 16 to the 19. But Fearson's still closing on the top 2. Brendan, this is a mess. And we're still not done.
This is an absolutely... This is an incredible mess to watch, that's for sure. Lots of cars with a chance up here at winning this race. This lead pack is now 14 cars, I should say. Any one of them could win, depending on what shenanigans happen here at the front. But Sydney and Taps, nose to tail, trying to pull away from these drivers and maybe get to a point where they can settle it between themselves. 6 laps to go. Fearson is not letting them get away. This would be an outstanding win, a long-awaited win for Adrienne Fearson if she could pull it off. This is the best that we've seen her run in a long time. Summers and Hollenbeck trying to catch them, but the top 3 are all nose to tail. Taps is going to try and look underneath Sydney. The 92's trying to peek the nose underneath Taps, but they all stay in line as we're at 5 laps to go now at Atlanta.
Oh, a great 1 and 2 from Sydney there. Might allow Fearson to make a move on Taps.
Simon Lawrenson! He just made a rewind move to get to 5th! This 10 car is really fast. He might have a shot at this.
What in the world? We just said that team's expected to struggle, and you're telling me they might win the season opener?
Well, they got a ways to go. Coming to 4 laps to go. Jake Sidney in command. But Lawrenson's having a great run here late in the going. Fearson on the low line, doesn't get a good run. Taps is going to try and pull away with Sydney. And they're all jammed up for third on back. That's what they want to see. They want to settle this between themselves. Darian, what do you think? Are we setting up for another classic Atlanta finish here?
Oh, most definitely, Brendan. This is about to be a classic here. Here comes Taps for the lead. 3 to go. Taps and Sydney side by side. Fearson still in third. Or no, but Summers now in third. Sorry.
Summers
now
and
Hollenbeck
in
in
third and fourth. And everyone else is jammed up. Honestly, I think they're going to run out of time to get involved in this. Taps is going to try and take the lead, and with all these new faces up towards the front, it's still McPicky Motorsports versus Hudson Motorsports, which is what we saw all of last season. Taps looks like he's going to clear Jake Sidney here. Coming to 2 laps to go. Is anybody going to be able to mount a charge to get back past the 16?
Watch the 2 here. Hollenbeck's quick. Looking on the inside. Can't quite get around the inside. Uh-oh.
He gets to the back bumper of the 16. We've seen this song and dance before. We saw it last year. Summers is going to get into third, try and insert herself into this battle, but she's got a lot of work to do. Sydney going to try and peek to the inside lane. Summers is closing fast. They're coming to the white flag, and they're side by side. Taps up top. Sydney on the bottom. 1 lap to go here at Atlanta.
Summers went high with Taps, and that might do it for Sydney. Yes, Taps just had a great run. Watch the 32. Maybe Summers can get a run, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Taps has this.
I think Summers might be too far back. Coming through turns 3 and 4. Corbin Taps is going to try and open out the season with a win, and he's going to do it. Coming off of turn number 4, Corbin Taps is going to win at Atlanta.
Unbelievable. What a race.
That was a great battle at the end between all of these drivers. They did a fantastic job. Summers will come home in second, Sydney third, Darren Walker fourth, Kobe Hollenbeck will round out the top 5. That was fun to watch
What?
from start to finish.
Very good race. Very fun. A shout out Darren Walker, Simon Lawrenson, and Karina Willis Calloway as well. I know Karina Willis Calloway wasn't as high up, but those three all struggled mightily at the start of this race. And to come away, all three of them, with a top 15, a top 10 for Lawrence, and a top 5 from Walker. Incredible race all around for those three.
Yeah, a lot of comers and goers in this race, but at the end, it was somebody that started towards the front that ended up winning. Average race speed over 180 miles an hour. Here is your full race results. Corbin Taps gets his 4th career LSCI win. McPicky Motorsports 2 for 2 if you include the Clash, but they've really had to fight for it. Kate Summers finishes in 2nd. I mean, Pacific Racing as a whole, that's got to be a good sign to have all 3 of your cars in the top 12 after the absolute struggle that they had last year. So, and I mean, the Toyotas in general, they really showed out. There were so many of them in that lead pack. It seemed like I think more than half of them were Toyotas. And again, they only won 3 races all of last year, so that's got to be a great sign for them. Darren Walker rebounding from that impact with the wall. Great run for him in 4th. Kobe Hollenbeck on debut with Martin Swain Race Team, their first race as a full-time team, and they almost win. They end up finishing 5th. Maybe expect some good stuff from that 2 car, especially since they get some of their equipment from McPicky Motorsports. So definitely a fast car. Adrian Pearson, I know it wasn't a win, but that was still a fantastic run for the 92 car. Hey, if she keeps running like that, maybe she'll have more chances in that car. Zach Dearman in 7th. Last year's race winner gets another top 10 here. Simon Lawrenson, I did not expect to see him anywhere near the front in this race. He started in 29th. Fantastic run for Simon Lawrenson here today. And he's pretty good at these kinds of tracks too, so maybe I shouldn't be that surprised. But, I mean, it was just a great run for Lawrenson in his rookie campaign. He finished the highest out of all the rookies, so I mean, right now he's leading the Rookie of the Year standings, so that's pretty good. Ellie Adams, like I mentioned earlier, she led a lot of laps in this race. I know she didn't win. I know she dropped back to 9th, but that's still a fantastic run for both driver and team. And we'll see if maybe she gets more races in that 5 car later, and if she can replicate that run. JT Boyd gets a top 10 finish. Solid run for him. Here's the rest of your results, and you can see a bunch of cars that were affected by that. Oh my goodness. Tim Berry, Jack Gino, and Tyler Landry, 3 of the best drivers from last year, round out the field. I do not remember the last time Tim Berry has finished last. That is a shocking result. And I mean, he did get into the wall, and that must have really affected his race car. So that is shocking to see him. Shocking to see them all down that far, and some of them were involved in that holdup from I think it was McCarron cutting across the track to try and get into the pits.
I also just want to point out, not only is he last, he's last with Jack Gino by a convincing amount, 10 seconds behind the 66 of Tyler Landry.
Yeah, I know Tim Berry must have had some damage repair. I suspect maybe the same happened to Jack Gino because I mean Berry was up in the top 10 early in the race. So, I mean, that's just unfortunate there for our reigning champion. I wouldn't panic just yet. It's only race number 1. Although the championship hangover does seem to be a very real thing here in LSCI, but I wouldn't panic just yet. He looked pretty fast before he got into the wall, and he's got time to make that up. But that does make things a little interesting for the chase. And I know, again, there's still 19 more races till the regular season, but I mean, that kind of a run could come back to bite you in race 20. I mean, Gino and Landry as well down there. But for someone like Corbin Taps, what does this win do for him in terms of helping him in the chase?
I think it does a lot, especially whenever you're getting to the nitty gritty of it. If he's in contention at Las Vegas, look out. That 16 showed so much pace today. You could also say the same for the 32, the 19, the 18. They were all so strong here today. And it would not shock me in the slightest to see any of them in championship contention once we get to the end of the season at Las Vegas.
And this win does give Taps some sort of wiggle room, because if he does start struggling down the stretch, he could fall back on that win to get one of those wildcard spots. So that's a very big win there for Corbin Taps. This is the second time the 16 has won here at Atlanta. Martin Swain did it back in season number 2. So the 16 car seems to have a knack for this track, no matter who's in it. But that's going to wrap things up here from Atlanta. Congratulations to Corbin Taps and McPicky Motorsports on the victory here at Atlanta. An absolutely exciting race, and I'm ready to get the rest of the season underway. This is going to be an exciting one for sure, if that was anything to go off of. Thank you, Darian, for joining me up here in the booth as per usual. I know you love calling the Atlanta races. It's one of your home tracks, so and we're always really excited to see you up here in the booth.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's always fun being here, especially at Atlanta. Georgia boy myself, so it's always fun to be here. One of the best tracks in America.
Yeah, absolutely. Next week, we're going to have both the Amateur Series and the Cup Series at the Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. Not too far away from this racetrack, so staying in the Southeast for the first 3 races, because then we go to Homestead after that. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting race for sure. Last year had a dramatic finish there as well. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to this season, and it's good to be back. So on behalf of Darian, this is Brennan Wilmington from the Left Turn Network signing out. Here are your point standings after race 1 out of 30, which will be on your screen right now.